football at its absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby.
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, September 8th. I think I have the correct background. Nope, just didn't get the date right. I'll get that fixed. It is what it is. As you can tell, voice is a little hoarse, a little raspy. Week 2, we're still warming up. We're still getting used to things, and my pace isn't quite Tennessee footballs yet. I'll get there. I'm still working there. As you can see, they got out to a full sprint last night. I wasn't prepared. I don't know if every fan was. NC State certainly was not prepared. So we get there. We'll get ready. Great time in Charlotte. Duke's Mayo, stand up. You put on a classic, let me tell you. I don't know about a bowl game, but you sure put on a classic.
Love it.
Got the hat to prove it.
Yeah, loved every second of it. I don't know if I think I'm coming out as a bucket hat guy now, just because of this.
It looks good on you.
Yeah, so this one is actually it's reversible, so it's got like the little mayonnaise.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, so we were all kind of wearing them last night, and we look like storm chasers, but
a little bit, yeah,
but it was awesome.
Yeah, that's a good gift. It was free, I suppose, or was that for making the kick? Did y'all get that from making?
No, I had to make like a cornhole thing.
Oh, that seems pretty relatively easy though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I like that. I did end up. This probably looks like an Oklahoma State jersey. Or Oklahoma jersey, excuse me, Sooners jersey. It's not.
Nice cold Dr. Pepper here.
I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. If you know me, you know I'm 23 flavors of Caleb. And big Dr. Pepper guy. Saw a guy on the street as I'm getting in my Uber, and I got it. I mean, made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Why not? Yeah.
Similar to LSU when I tried to get the shirt from Fred's.
Yeah.
I mean, I made the guy an offer he couldn't refuse. He looked at all of his friends and he was like, should I do it? I was like, you don't give a crap. Clearly, if it's even on the table, you should have taken $1.
Yeah, it's yes or no. I mean, you know.
Right. Anyways, it worked out. I was supposed to get a football too, but as we're getting the Uber, I put in a pretty mediocre drop kick. It was late. It was dark. Concrete. Charlotte Municipal needs to work on the sidewalks. They're a little crooked, I found out. So the football is not in my possession, but it was a Dr. Pepper football, probably thrown at the halftime of that game.
Okay.
I would guess. I don't know where else that would come from. So big night for everyone. We all came out on top. Two things here before we really get into the show. One, was not expecting that. I thought Tennessee would win. I thought it'd be a double-digit victory. I did not think we would be sitting here and going, we still don't know much about this Tennessee team because they played 2 just mediocre opponents, and they did what they should do, win by 40 plus.
Did I know we were talking about last week how we didn't learn anything from the 2 teams that we saw play week 1.
Right.
Did we? Should we have seen this coming? Did they
I
try to
think-
tell us in week 1 what was going to happen?
I was actually thinking about that today. Yeah. I do think a little bit you're right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I still think NC State is a little bit better than what we saw last night, closer to fourth quarter Western Carolina.
Mhm.
But I think it told more of the story than I realized, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
I mean,
Because they were, especially, so I have a big turning point in the game, and I think it is for everybody, but I even want to go before that we'll get into when we kind of break down this game a little bit.
Mhm.
But even after that, it feels like their offense is close. Grayson McCall has just really struggled. They have an offensive line that's not bad. They ran into a buzzsaw last night with Landon. There's no more arguing it. That's the best defensive line in the country. They're what, 12 deep, it seems? It's nuts.
I mean, they're just all the same person. They just have different numbers.
That's it. They had 4 tackles rotate in and didn't skip a beat. It's impressive. And so that offensive line, especially early in the game, were able to do some really good things, but they just couldn't keep up. And so, and then their defense is not as bad as they were made to look on some possessions last night. I thought they especially challenged Nico really, really well. They got some good pressure up front, both in the run and pass game. You just have a guy like Dylan Sampson. There is no question, again, that Dylan Sampson is who we thought he was. He's not who the SEC media thought he was. To leave him off of 3 teams like Ben McKee mentioned on Thursday, that's who the media thought he is. Certainly not that. Maybe not as good as I'm putting him out there to be, but he's not that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, going back to last week, I mean, you should have seen that coming.
Yeah,
and I think ever since that Iowa game, he's kind of been on a different level. That's 3 games in a row that he's been the starting running back for Tennessee and rushed over 100 yards. Like he has, I feel like he thinks he has something to prove, and
he does.
You know,
he sucks. He needs to really pick it up. No one. He's not good.
Keep doing it. But I do think you're right. I don't think NC State is that bad. I think Tennessee's defensive line is that good, and it makes. I mean, it's kind of like that. He makes other people look not so fast. I mean, like that's what this defensive line does to you. It just demolishes your entire game plan, and then it's kind of over at that point. With pressure, and they just any kind of misdirection stuff that they tried to do, like Concepcion, put them in motion, get them lost in kind of the jumble when they did the snap, and then he scoots out of there and it is open. And they did that once, and after that it was Tennessee made an adjustment. I don't know exactly what that was, whether that's just like, hey, whoever that defensive tackle is, you get pressure and blow that up. If number 10 comes across your face behind the line of scrimmage, you blow him up. I don't know. That first possession, NC State drove down the field. And then they had, I think, 3 third down conversions. And then after that, I mean, they had that big play when they went like swinging gate, like had quads out.
Yeah, is that swinging gate? So that's actually I didn't realize till today that drive and the pick 6 were in the same drive until I looked at the box score. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my brother this morning, and prior to that, Tennessee didn't look bad, but they obviously things weren't quite clicking yet on offense. Defense was still kind of trying to find out where KC was and still working they had slowed down the run, trying to stop the run. Like things were okay from my perspective. They just weren't great. But during that, so we get to that drive, they come out in the swinging gate and they get KC into open space. Shout out to a true freshman, Boo Carter, who it was one of those things. He was like, I don't know exactly what to do, but I know to be on this guy's hip. and went with him.
Yeah.
You can see him kind of checking for safety. He's like, where's my help? What do I do? I don't know. Get on his hip and find it. Like, just ride with him. Limits a big play. Then they do another weird play. I think it's 2 plays later where they bring a tight end in motion from a wide split just to kind of get the defense off balance. And it's another big play. I think it's another first down, like 15-yard rush from Smothers. And after those plays didn't score, after their weird stuff didn't work, it was before the interception. I remember thinking, we're good. They've shown us all their quick stuff. They've shown us all their weird stuff. We're settled into this game now. And I think ball's rolling our way. Like, things will be fine. Nico's going to move the ball. You have Dylan Sampson who's going to move the chains for you. We're good. And then, of course, that pick 6 happens. And it's not immediate, but that was the turning point of the game. Tennessee was off full sprint pretty much after that. NC State never left the blocks, and it was game over. And you really felt it in the crowd. And I think that brings up my next point I wanted to make, Landon. I've got it for Charlotte. I mean, Tennessee goes into the home of your Panthers, who aren't good. Let's call it like it is. They suck.
Yeah, they're bad. Yeah.
I know the solution. And you think it's James Pierce, and I think you're wrong. It's Will Brooks, baby. It's Will Brooks, the 85-yard touchdown man. He didn't walk that 85-yard touchdown like he did onto this Tennessee football team. He ran, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and is that not a backbreaker too, that you kind of like, this is not really a shot at Will Brooks because he had a great game yesterday and almost had 2 picks off a deflection. I'm sure, like, game plan, they're like, okay, we can try to pick on.
We're going to his side.
Yeah. And then after that first quarter, literally after that pick 6, NC State could have just like packed up everybody and just went home because that was game over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a backbreaker. No one, like, that's the guy that you're like, okay, that's the guy. There's my bitch,
Yeah, no, for sure.
The longest yard, and then you hit him right in the chest with the ball, and he takes it to the house, and you're like, oh,
hey,
God, what have we done?
And Will Brooks is getting all the attention as he should. He should after that play, but Joshua Josephs is back. That play happens because of him, because he's a big,
he was all over
fast, scary machine. Grayson McCall didn't know what to do when he sees 19 in his face.
Mm-hmm.
It tries to throw it over him for some reason.
Yeah. A little lob pass right in the chest.
Well, and I'm sure we'll kind of talk about how we grade this win, these positions, grade by, maybe not. I know we're not going to go down the whole thing, but how we grade people. And looking at Nico, I didn't think he played he didn't play an exceptional game. He played well. He made some dumb mistakes, notably that first interception. That it's just never there. It's a young quarterback. I on replay, I think he tried to throw him open and it sailed. I think if he just throws a good ball there, if he still wants to throw it, it's probably just an incomplete pass out in front. But I think he tried to throw him open and it sailed on him. And that's just a young quarterback mistake. As much as we want Nico to be we know he's poised, but be a veteran about it. It's his 3rd start. And it's a young quarterback mistake. Don't make it again. You kind of get one, right? Whatever, move on.
Right.
And it looks like he has. I know he throws that second interception, but that was also probably shouldn't have thrown that ball anyways. But also his arm gets hit as it goes in the air. So tough play there. But when you look at that, you look at Grayson McCall doing whatever he was doing on that pick 6. You're talking about a guy who's in his 3rd start, Grayson McCall, who's in his 4th or 5th year. Sure, it's at a different school, but that's a veteran guy. And they're making those mistakes.
Yeah.
I think that puts the Nico mistakes into perspective for me, and it should for Tennessee fans, that you have a veteran that is a good quarterback. I'm not going to call him great, but a good quarterback. And those mistakes happen, especially when you have a defensive line putting pressure on you and making you think.
Yeah, and I think, when you're looking at Nico, did he play his best game? No, he did not. And I think he'd be the first one to tell you that. He forced some things, and you kind of brought those up. Got to eat that one that the guy hits your arm, you see your left guard or your right guard just getting absolutely abused.
Yeah.
Eat it, live to play another down, and he let it fly. And I think playing Chattanooga, like he fit that ball into Brazel across the middle, and I think he tried to do the same thing with Brew there, and it did sell. But also, like I rewatched it a little bit. If he can hang on to it a little bit longer, I think that
And he
that
had time.
safety's nowhere near it, and Brew is open across the middle.
Yeah, and then
Just
that's
let
like
it develop a little bit more.
that backer.
But again, that's a freshman mistake.
Right. That backer in the middle is just sitting. He's not turned his hips yet. So I think he was trying to throw to his right of him.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're saying, literally a second later, if he had just held on to it, see if it happens, he had time, then you see that happen rather than trying to get him there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is what it is. It obviously wasn't fun to experience it. You want Nico to play you want your quarterback to play a clean game, and it wasn't that. But I mean, I think he played well. I thought
he responded well. Like you couldn't the next drive, you didn't know he'd just do an interception the drive before that.
And I still think his passing game, I probably grade it like a C+. Now his overall quarterback game, I maybe a little bit higher just because he did a lot of good stuff with his legs. Big fourth down conversion. Or was it third down on that QB draw?
I don't remember what down it was.
I think it was fourth down.
But he could
have not turned his back.
He could have done cartwheels and everything else when he just kind of walked in from.
So a lot of good stuff from the quarterback position. As a whole, I'd probably go B minus probably, just because the passing game wasn't great, wasn't bad, and I also think he got some just calls that don't go your way too. The first possession, I believe, was it Brazel that just got tackled?
Yeah, no call.
No call on that one. So then you have the Brew one, which I'm thinking it was a little long. He gets hung on. It just blows my mind that's a 50-50 call, not blows my mind.
Yeah.
That's 50-50 call. I think it was Brazel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm a ref and I don't care what position on the field I'm at, if I see that, I'm probably going to throw my flag, and then the guy responsible is going to go, "What'd you see?" I don't know, but there had to be something. I'm helping you out, bud.
Well, my thing was the whole officials. I mean, they were perfectly fine with throwing a 15-yard penalty. I mean, they were giving them out like candy, and you can't throw a blatant PI. I mean, that 15 yards. It doesn't a personal foul PI. They're both 15 yards.
And I think he tackled him so early that it's probably one of those that they're thinking, well, it wasn't in the area, like it was uncatchable. Okay, call holding, that's fine, but something has to happen there.
Right.
You can't have a wide receiver get tackled in the open field and not even question what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, though that was,
and then he gets a touchdown called back. I mean, play breaks down. He finds Kitzelman. I mean, Kitzelman was out there doing jumping jacks, getting him to throw the football and hits him. And I didn't get to watch that much of it to see if Dane Davis was really down field. I don't think you could really tell off the.
I hadn't gotten to that point in the game yet in my rewatch. Someone not at the game on TV, they said it was close.
Okay.
Like probably one of those that really could have gone either way. You're probably going to see it more in games, and there's probably going to be times it's not called kind of deal.
Yeah. Is what it is. I mean, I feel like if a play breaks down, like, I don't know does that play get called more because it breaks down or less because it breaks down? I don't know the science behind that, but yeah, I mean that could have went either way. That would have been a huge, I think, kind of feather in the cap for him, and just kind of put the game was already probably on ice by then, but I mean I just think he played okay. I thought he did great things. I thought there was some things that he could have done better. Obviously, he ran the ball well. I think he was 8 for
65 and a
touchdown. Yeah, I mean, I think he was efficient and let some throws get away from him, but it wasn't like he was 17 for 40 like Boise State's quarterback was last night. He was 16 for 23 for 211 yards. Yeah, was it super explosive like you saw last week? No. He hit Squirrel, Brew, that one, that was one where no one on the opposite side, I don't know if you saw that. It was literally just going to be a throw to Brew. No one moved on the other side of the field. The receivers didn't. And he tries to toe tap and is a little bit let him a little bit too much out of bounds. But I mean, there were some plays here and there that probably could have went the other way, and maybe we're thinking a little differently. But he was, I think he was efficient, and it's got to be a huge confidence booster for him to have your defense back you up. To throw a pick or throw a pick six and be like, hey man, like it's cool. Like we'll get the ball right back for you. I don't think it's like a couple years ago where Tennessee has to score 50 points to win a football game. I think this defense is real. And if Tennessee's scoring 50 points, however they do it, I think they're blowing somebody out now.
Yeah. I mean, this team's good enough that it's going to be hard to get in a boat race situation with this team. I'm curious to see when Tennessee plays a more potent offense, what that looks like. Cause who knows, there may be someone out there. But yeah, I agree with you.
They're going to have to figure something out to run the football because I mean, there is zero room to run against Tennessee's defensive front. Yeah.
You look at a guy last week, in Jordan Waters, he had 124 yards against Western Carolina. He doesn't get as many touches because he's not going anywhere. He ends up with -4 against Tennessee. It's absolutely insane. I can't remember what that exact rushing yards was. You mentioned the first drive. They converted 3 third downs. Didn't convert another one the rest of the game.
Yep.
And that, I mean, it's similar with rushing. I mean, I think they had 37 yards rushing or something like that. And that's right what they finished
38
on the first drive.
Oh, they had that on the first drive?
I think they had something like 30-something on the first drive.
Oh my God.
Here, we can add, let's go through and add this up real quick. Cause it was the bulk of their yardage. And a lot of that's Grayson McCall getting sacked and on how those come back. But that, I mean, Waters lost 3 yards on the first drive. Doesn't feel like it.
They had 39 total rushing yards in the game. They rushed for 1.4 yards per carry.
I'm sorry. They had negative on the first one. Wow. I would have said, I thought they had I thought they had a big run. That was on that. They had two big 10+ yards. On
a lot of that was like getting
KC
lost in the backfield and him like scoring out the other side and getting it to him. But yeah, they I don't know. I don't know what the adjustment was, but after that first drive and then they did that kind of trick play stuff across the middle with KC, he was nowhere to be found after that.
I mean, Tennessee DBs did a really, really exceptional job of knowing where he was at all times. Boo Carter
it feel good to have a lockdown corner like Jamad McCoy.
Jamad McCoy played really well. That
it feels good.
That's a massive help.
And there was times where he was following KC. There was a couple of plays there where he just kind of stayed on him. I don't know if that was part of just like, hey, we're going to let somebody else try to beat us.
Right.
And then NC State had zero effort. I do want to give a shout out to NC State. I do think they showed up.
For sure. I mean,
showed up. I mean, that place was packed. There was plenty of red. Now, outside the stadium, I thought there was a lot more orange than red. Inside the stadium, it looked more 50-50-ish. But then they were out of there by like halftime. So that was
fun. For sure. I said it. I said I thought it was 55-45 NC State fans. And then I realized I was on the Tennessee side and I couldn't see the upper deck where I was at. So you could see pretty much the entire stadium. Closer to 50-50, or do you? I just gave a slight edge to NC State. Felt like there was a lot more red mixed with the orange than vice versa, because it was half and half virtually, just with some dots in there.
Yeah, I think it was probably half and half if I had to guess.
NC State maybe edged, or was that whole side orange?
Yeah, that whole side was orange. So
that whole upper deck.
Yeah.
Because I looked in the lower deck and I just like looked around me and then kind of looked out and it looked like there was more red dotted throughout our section in the lower bowl, whereas the other side.
I think it is harder. It's harder to like point out orange
in the sea of
than
red.
it
That's what
is-
I said that too. Yeah,
yeah.
agreed. Yeah, no, it was a great environment, great game. Every NC State fan I ran into was awesome, and
We had a rough
at
one in
least
front of us.
tolerable. I did look down about 2 sections over to me, and down about 30 rows was well, probably not quite 30, but where I was sitting, distance wise, probably about 30 rows. I saw an NC State fan get pummeled, and his shirt was thrown another 15 rows forward.
Oh, wow.
Don't know what happened there. Never got the full
Sharp
story,
stuff.
but yeah. Couple of things here. Steven mentioned Dane Davis touched the line of scrimmage, wasn't even close. He was 2.5, 3 yards downfield when the ball was released. I just watched the play. Him and whoever he starts blocking, or whoever was blocking with him, Nico rolls out. They start moving up. Ball's released. I'd say he's about 2.5 yards downfield. So probably still not. Well, hold on. No, he's about 4. Yeah, he's about 4. So probably the right call. Probably could have gone 50-50. You'll probably see times it's not called this year. Probably see it called again this year. Nathan also mentioned we were in 12 personnel. I love 12 personnel. I love a good 12 personnel. That's the one thing I love about Big Ten football. You can turn it on. They're probably going to be in 12 personnel. It's just a good formation. You get 2 tight ends on the field, 2 tight ends who can catch on the field. Buddy, I'll watch that every day of the week.
Yeah, in Tennessee, like that was kind of a wrinkle that we haven't seen a lot of. They don't go 12 personnel very often, but I think this tight end group is. I think we thought they'd be pretty good, but I think they're really good. I mean, all 3 of them have caught a touchdown the past 2 weeks.
I'm glad we're on the same page here because I was going to say Landon 2 tight ends scored and neither of them are named Davis.
Yeah,
I love it.
and gets them in.
I'm not sure if I lost Landon or Landon lost me. It looks like there we go. Okay.
Back.
That's tough because usually it's me dropping out, so I didn't know if I should keep talking or not.
What in the world just happened? Nothing.
You're good. It's normally my fault, so I was quiet there for a second, but good to have you back.
Okay, yeah, we're back. I don't know what that was. Little glitch. It's okay. It was NC State fans. They forgot to pay the bill. Where we at? Oh, we were talking about
Kitzelman. He's a dog. He's a dog.
I mean, and we talked about how it wasn't super explosive, but a reason for that is because like they just gave you tight ends. They gave you the run. And so I think with Tennessee's offense, like it's kind of pick your poison. Like if you want to go a light box and take away those big plays, I think it's okay. Nico's perfectly fine dinking and dunking down the field.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay with picking up third downs with Dylan Sampson. They can trust him in the pass game. They do that little shovel pass.
Didn't love it until that big 3rd down conversion by Dylan.
Yeah. Also, that was a huge. I don't know if that was a call from Nico or a call from the sideline, but them going up the line on that 3rd down, I don't know what was called, but they see like they see a wider or a corner about the blitz.
They were bringing pressure. There was a linebacker on that same side.
Yep.
There was pressure coming.
And they changed the play and realized it was coming off the edge, that pressure, and was like, okay, well, you can come off the edge and we'll just throw it right here and let him go pick it up. And I mean, that was an awesome play call.
And it backed up that it backed up that weak side linebacker too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure helped.
Yeah, and that's a tough play to run because I don't know if it was a couple drives before that. I mean, it got stuffed. They tried it, and it got stuffed. And, as you get hit like that, as soon as you turn around and get hit, you think about it the next time you run it. And it didn't seem to bother Dylan Sampson at all. He's like, all right, well, I'll just go pick up 16 on a 3rd and 15.
Well, and he got hit about 3 yards short and still stayed up and made a play and got a 1st down.
I know the Nico hype is full steam ahead, and it is a quarterback award, but Dylan Sampson absolutely deserves to be named in that conversation as well for just talking about Tennessee players.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
5 touchdowns already on the year?
I said he'd have the most touchdowns as a running back. He did last year because of the way they rotated him. I thought he would score them a bit differently. They're just leaving him in the ball game, which I love. But I thought it'd be different. I'm gonna end up being right in the wrong way, and that's cool with me. That's fine with me.
You want to hear a crazy stat?
Yeah.
Already has more touchdowns than Jalen Wright did last year.
That is wild. That's wild. He's a dude. He can play, and they're. I like that. I think Josh Heupel has so many athletes on the field. He's spreading the wealth, and I think sometimes that can be tough to. It's tough to spread the wealth and then also feed the guy that does it for you. And I feel like they're gonna just feed the guy that does it for you in Dylan Sampson this year, and I appreciate that. I think it needs to be done more often. I mean, I think too they can still get better at it. There's after that play you're talking about where they hand out 3 total 15-yard penalties that offset, gave us a 1st and 10, then went back to correctly the 3rd and 4, but didn't tell us. It was a very confusing situation. Just give the ball to Dylan Sampson there. We don't need to put the ball in the air on 3rd and 4 there. Give the ball to Dylan Sampson. If they stop him, hand up. Good play.
Yeah. Give
it a chance. Devin said where he was sitting in the club level on the NC State side, there are a bunch of Vol fans. He said he thinks it was about 70-30. Again, it's hard to see orange standing out. The NC State upper deck was almost all red. There was orange dotted, but it was full on red. It wouldn't surprise me if there was more Tennessee fans there, but it was close to 50-50 for sure.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't close to 50-50 at the end of the 3rd quarter. So
no.
I love when they tried to do like a NC State hype. That's the problem with I think the 4th quarter songs is, if it's a blowout, why are we doing that?
Yeah, and I know. So I know NC State was the designated home team. Were they the home? Was it a home game essentially for them? Because similar to Tennessee and Nashville last year, because that seemed like it was their PA announcer. He really did up the NC State names.
Yeah. I don't think so, but it definitely felt that way for
right.
sure.
And it doesn't bother. The only one that it actually bothered me on is I'm blind, and I didn't know who scored the 85-yard touchdown because if he announced it very quietly while people were cheering. But you wait. If you're a PA announcer, you should know. You don't do it while the crowd's going nuts as the dude's dancing in the end zone. You do it once after the PAT, once everybody's quieted down and is waiting. And so I didn't know who scored it until I got on the ESPN app and found out. That was my only gripe with that. Other than that, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I just heard it like when they were on offense, it just felt like.
It felt like it was I didn't.
Much a home
I figured being a
it sounded like
game,
the Kentucky guy.
He might have came down. He knew he wasn't going to get much out of that one. It was at Kentucky, right? Wasn't it in Lexington? I can't remember.
I think it was.
Ugh, yikes.
Yeah. I tried to tell our good friend Austin that is a Kentucky fan that they're screwed because I did put money on Kentucky. So I tried to warn him up front what was going to happen. And
we did tell him too. It was his sister's fault for having a wedding the day of the game.
Yeah. Which also might have been a little bit better for him to go ahead and get your mind on something else. So.
Absolutely. Jeff Harrison, any word on Selden other than what we know right now? But also,
I think he'll be fine next week.
I'd love to see Selden as well, but hey, Mr. Booby Miles, Deshaun Bishop, kid can play.
He's really good. I think his best play for me on the night was on that pick six, running down and almost catching him at the goal line. That's how you stay on the field.
Sure.
Stuff like that. And Keenan Peely had another really good kind of. Nathan Laycock had one last week where he runs down the guy who intercepts it. Peely had a great block on that pick six from Will Brooks, runs down Justin Jolie, who is probably could be an All-American tight end. Like he really is that good, and just buries him on the sideline. runs him down, make sure he gets across his body and just buries him.
Right.
I mean, that's winning football. I
I'm
know
glad
that,
you
that is
mentioned
very coachy to kind of say that, but I do think this team like enjoys playing together, and you definitely saw that. I mean, obviously the score was what it was, but after the third quarter, everybody's dancing, having a good time. I do think this team is having fun playing good football.
for sure, and I'm glad you mentioned those because the guy who made the tackle on his interception was Nico.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not making he's not making business decisions unless those business decisions are winning football games.
And he almost broke that dude's neck.
Yeah, it was a Landon Raby tackle.
He definitely was.
He went for ankles. Maybe a little bit of a business decision, but
Yeah,
he made the play still. It wasn't.
Yep.
His head was up though. That's the thing. He didn't go head down at the ankles. He saw it. He
Well,
shouldn't see the numbers.
I told
exactly.
there was a guy in front of me. He's like, who made that tackle? I was like, that was Nico. You know, he just was trying to pad the stats a little bit. You know, there's
Right.
not many Heismans that have some tackles in there. So go ahead and
Get those out of the way.
yeah, get a notch for Nico on, you know, when they're trying to decide who wins the Heisman.
Sure. I agree with that. Yeah, I and try to hit some of these notes. I've got just that Tennessee, talking about their running backs. I thought they ran the ball on first down really well. If you go throughout the game, there's very few times that Tennessee runs the ball on first down and it's not 2nd and 7 or less. There's just a few in there. That's huge for just the tempo of the game. Tennessee is able to do more of what they want to do when they run it well on first down. The whole D played well, really well. We've talked about that, and that D line just wreak havoc. They have lived up to every bit of the hype so far. You look across the board, and we talked about it. You're not really missing a beat at tackle, but not really at end either. And you've got a guy like James Pierce who's not quite making or putting the stats up that you'd like to see, but when you watch him, he's doing a ton to he's moving the plays away from him, or he's starting the tackles for losses, and you've got other guys finishing the play, and it's very much a group effort in how they're playing right now. James Pierce is a big part of that. And it's, if they don't get the Florida State treatment of people just oohing and awing over this defensive line next week on College Game Day, I think we riot. I think we make Pat McAfee line up against him. He probably would, so I think we encourage that. But yeah, Omari Thomas, he's fast. Runs down Grayson McCall out of the pocket. Dude can flat out play. I turned around before that play. We were talking about Omari Thomas and how much he gets rotated out, especially on third down, cheetah package, all that. And I'm ranting and raving. I'm going on and on that he should play every snap he can. He should be so sore on Sundays and keep him in on third downs. He's one of your best pass rushers. And then he makes that sack. And I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the guy's just kind of like, all right, buddy, you've talked my ear off enough about this. We can move on. Monty mentions Omar Norman Lott. So that goes into that tackle where you have a guy like Omari Thomas, guy like Omar Norman Lott. Those guys, and they don't, like you said, they're the same guys, just in different numbers.
Yeah. And like with the defensive tackle like that, you can't just like immediately abort mission and go left or right because you have Joshua Josephs and James Pierce coming off the edge.
Right.
So like a quarterback, it sucks to be an opposing quarterback against Tennessee right now. I don't envy them at all. But I do appreciate the courage to even take a snap back there with them coming up.
Sure.
It was fun to see. I did mention like on our show on Thursday when I was on the way up to Charlotte, key number 8 tackles for loss that Western Carolina had against NC State. Tennessee almost doubled that number with 13 tackles for loss last night. That's insane.
Yeah, and just 3 sacks, I think, just shows NC State was not in the business of giving Tennessee chances to sack them. Ball was out quick. How many deep shots did they take?
Not many.
It felt like none.
Yeah.
And if there were, it was to Justin Jolly up the middle, like a seamer.
Yeah.
That was about
They
it.
didn't have any time.
No,
Well, it's
no.
the same with Chattanooga. They're like, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have
Why
time.
even try?
And I think when they did try to drop back, it was a sack or getting pressured. Like,
Yeah.
he threw that pick six. I mean, there was a lot of trying to minimize the damage with that
sure.
pass rush, but there was just nothing you could do. And I understand like that saying, like, don't abandon the run. But man, I probably would have done it last night if I was NC State.
We kind of did it for him. We
Yeah.
kind of said we'll abandon the run for you. We'll take care of that. Don't worry.
Yeah, if you just want to run the football, just take a knee.
And I mean, that's the thing about that offense. And again, I think this Tennessee defense is just much better than we've seen. And that's I've never been a Tim Banks denier. I've always said I think Tim Banks does a good job. I've thought he could. There's been games that I thought he could call better. There's been some of his tendencies that I didn't like and disagree with, but stand up, Tim Banks, man. That was a well-called game. We talked about how Tennessee wins that defensively with the pressure. Tennessee got home consistently with 3 to 4 guys all night, and he was able to be more flexible in the play calling. And then you talk about limiting KC. He got his due. He made some plays when the ball got in his hands in the backfield, but no touchdowns. Didn't really break off any big plays except that one swinging gate thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did a phenomenal job, and I'm not even a denier. There are some people that are going to have to be on the front lines with me on the Tim Banks apology tour if this season keeps going this way. And I'm certainly not the one that needs to be in the front, but I'll lead. I will lead it, and you guys just join me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane, like 0 touchdowns. And like NC State, I understand they're probably not as good as what people thought they would be going into the season, but they're still a top 25 team.
Yeah.
And we made them look like an FCS opponent.
Right.
With a defense, and you scored 51 points and didn't even the offense didn't play just phenomenal. They ran the ball well, but other than that.
That does show how important it is to have just a premier back that you can kind of not hit the panic button's not a good term to use in this game because they didn't have to, but where you're just, hey, we gotta establish something here. Give it to Dylan Sampson. You've got a guy like that. It's massive, man. It's massive.
And I just think they're so much better in the front seven than they've ever been. Obviously, they have a ton of veterans there, a ton of talent, but also having a guy like Keenan Peely back there, having Jeremiah T-Lander, Arion Carter, another year in this system. I just feel like they're kind of feeding off that defensive line energy where they feel like they can't be stopped either.
Right. Jeremiah T-Lander, man, he is a assist merchant. He's around the football all the time. I don't know how he doesn't have 14 assisted tackles a game.
Oh yeah.
You just have statisticians going, they're going to question us if we give another one to him, but he's there. You have to, I think. You got to start giving them to him.
Nose for the football.
Yeah, he finds it. He's fun to watch. Arion Carter, I'm glad both those names you mentioned, just really, really good games from those guys. Keenan Peely, really good game. It's good to have him out there, man. It feels like you have a veteran leader present and a guy that can play. It's good to have him out there. And
I think he's a difference maker, man.
You were a lot closer on that one play. I was kind of dogging him because that one, they run like a little swing route. And the running back does get up like he's not down and he's going to keep running. But from my vantage point, I was like, he's obviously down, but I also don't blame him. He got up like he was going to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really care about that. I mean,
it's not one that I'm dogging him for.
Yeah, it'd be different if he was walking back to the sideline and you just shoved him like,
yeah,
another former linebacker that we had a couple years ago. But
right.
Yeah, I don't. You're running toward the ball, and
like I said, he got up like he was running. It was one of those that in the heat of the moment, I'm like, what are you doing? And then you realize, if you don't make that play and he's not down, you're really kicking yourself.
Yeah. But it had to be called, so I get that too.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not complaining about the call. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that either. But it's just an unfortunate.
What did you think about the I know you can't block just all the way to the bench, but there was something about that play that it was just like y'all ran into a buzzsaw. Like that was the moment. Yeah, a friend of ours, Brody Rollins, said it to me. He was like, "That was ass to belt," and that
Yeah.
felt like an ass to belt moment
Yeah.
when the Javonte Spraggins and I think it was Campbell. I mean, just all the way to the sideline.
Yeah. I mean, they Michael Ward, they put him on the bus. They were getting him out of there.
They were just trying to help him out.
Yeah, just getting him to the bench. He was going to be sitting there after coaches saw him get whooped up on that one.
Exactly.
No, I that was a play that it's similar to Peely's. Like, you're not so mad about it, but also let's not do it again. Didn't happen again. So I also
if it was a closer game, it's probably a different.
Right. It also wasn't so egregious because they have him out of bounds as Nico goes out of bounds. I don't think that gets called if instead they're pushing him 15, 20 yards downfield. I think it gets called because it's on the sideline and it started a little scrum in there, and probably one of those you kind of have to call to make sure this game doesn't get chippy type deal. And I'm okay with it.
I think it is like, I mean,
it was offsetting penalties too.
Yeah, he was like, "What do I call?" Excessive blocking.
Yeah, no, that's what they called it, unnecessary roughness, excessive blocking on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Crazy.
That's a little insulting if you're the guy getting blocked. It's like they blocked me, they continued blocking me.
Yeah, you got blocked so bad that they like felt like they needed to call a penalty because it was that bad.
It also drives me nuts, and this is obviously has happened in Tennessee's favor, I guess, if you want to call it that. The player, especially if he's not participating in the play, he's on the sideline. The player that runs in, especially after it's broken up and bumps, hit you, whatever, the guy that gets it riled back up, ejected immediately. You have no dog in that fight. It's done. It's over with. They're not on top of your guys. If you come in late like that, gone, ejected. You want attention? Here it is. Go find it in the locker room.
Yeah. Also, if you want to do something about it, how about you play a little bit better than that guy that just got blocked to the side?
Right. Yeah. And I know everybody's like, "Oh, well, he's defending his teammate." His teammate was defended. It was done and over with, and he comes flying in.
Yeah.
No, gone. We have stupidity as an epidemic. Stupid people exist in this society because we allow them to. Toss him. Get him out. Maybe he'll learn next time and won't be as dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, didn't hurt us. It is what it is.
I'm looking at all this stuff, all these like TFLs. Bryson Easton 1, Keenan Peely 0.5, Amari Thomas 1.5, Jacoby Thomas 1, Arion Carter 1.5, Dominique Bailey 1, Tyree West 0.5, Jackson 1.5. I mean, you can just go down the list and everybody got in on one of those TFLs.
I think
that's unreal.
I need to watch this game with all eyes on James Pierce. I think he got cheated out of at least a few half ones. It felt like so many times that the running back would have run into him and then somebody else would get it. I'm like, he needs that half one.
Yeah.
That's his. And
I know he's a little frustrated because of everything. And Tennessee's winning, so it probably helps. But, I mean, the reason why guys are having the seasons they are, a lot of that has to do with him. And I hope he can understand that it's not going to be just because he's getting 10 sacks at Tennessee's winning game. Just your presence, knowing that you can get, 4 or 5 sacks every single game is what's helping the entire defense.
100%. I mean, they're going to key in on you. They're going to run away from you. They're going to double team you. They're going to have the running back or tight end chip you.
And it's not easy at that age to realize
right.
like, hey, like I'm trying to be a number 1 pick here and I can't get anything.
Right. But you're affecting the game just being on the field in a massive way. And it's just how it goes. And I do want to go back actually and watch this game and see how involved I know he was present in the backfield a lot on run plays, definitely on pass plays. Didn't always make it. Grayson McCall made a great play on one that James Pierce is there in a hurry and he kind of slips him and then hits Justin Jolly and he barely makes the catch. Looks like he hits the ground live. It's just a good play by NC State where you go, Yeah, you beat him that time. Hand up, whatever. So just some unfortunate stuff, but I don't know if you heard me on Thursday. I listened to Locked On Vols with Eric Kane. He had the Locked On Wolfpack guys on.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy, Kenton Gibbs. He played at NC State. Landon, I wish I was joking when I said this man said James Pierce was neutral. He wasn't worried about him in the run game because he's neutralized in the run game, is what he said.
Neutralized in the run game.
Neutralized.
Did he explain?
He just said he's not impactful in the run game. And you look at his stats, he had 13 and a half tackles for a loss last year, or 14 and a half total, 13 and a half against Power 5 opponents. And then it's also, are you stat watching? And maybe he went and watched film. He's probably watched more tape. If he has, he's probably watched more tape than I on James Pierce. But you also just can't say, did he make that tackle? Because of what we just talked about. Are they running away from him? Is he the one making the tackle? Maybe not, but is he the one causing the running back to find a new route, to find a new hole? I don't know if he is super impactful in the run game last year. I haven't watched tape. I'm not going to say that. I just know based on the stats alone and based on watching every game, I know he certainly wasn't neutralized. And he wasn't even close to neutralized last night in the run game.
Also, like, that dude is going to be making millions and millions of dollars to get after the quarterback. What he does in the running game is just icing on top. I mean,
right. Well, and also, I mean, that's part of it too, is a lot of his job is getting upfield as fast as he can.
Correct.
So if he's also just making tackles, good. He may not always be for a loss, but he's probably running that running back down.
We've also seen him go down on kickoff and absolutely murder somebody. He's also had a pick six in a bowl game as a sophomore. So.
He's not been neutralized by any means in the run game. Neutralized is 100. The guy also said, which I mean, we knew nothing about the DBs coming into this game because we hadn't seen them against Chattanooga. They didn't have to do anything. It's also hilarious that the obvious turning point of that game was a pick six because he wasn't worried about the DBs at all. I think he used the term, they're Swiss cheese.
He says the DBs were Swiss cheese.
And I mean, that's a fair thing to say about Tennessee's DBs last year.
Right. But I mean,
we hadn't seen these guys.
You saw that week one?
Right.
They were Swiss cheese because they gave up 3 points to Chattanooga. Yeah. That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
He had to eat his words a little bit. I would like to go back and listen to it just to remember everything he said. That was just absolutely hilarious. The James Pierce one just drove me nuts because I'm thinking, you obviously haven't watched him. You've just heard pass rusher, pass rusher, pass rusher. That's it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And he's not being lauded as the number one draft pick because of his stats either. That's what's crazy. If you go look at the stats, he doesn't have the best. Last year, he didn't have the best pass rushing stats in the country.
Mm-hmm.
These people saying he's the number one draft pick aren't going, oh, look at his stats. He's the number one draft pick. They're watching tape.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Also, something else that I kind of thought of last night was with these games going the way that they're going right now, Tennessee might not have any red shirts this year, unless they're medical. Yeah, because everybody's playing. They're rotating so much, and guys are flashing. You know, Deshaun Bishop kind of made the most of his, reps with Cam Seldon out throughout, spring practice and fall camp, and then, gets opportunity and plays well against Chattanooga and then does it again against NC State. And you're thinking like, oh, this kid, did well against Chattanooga, sure. But, what does he do against like a lot better competition? Gotta look the same.
Yeah. He got
efficient.
He got a 70
fast and patient.
Right. He got a 72.8 Pro Football Focus grade. Dylan Sampson had a 73.2.
Yeah, pretty good to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things where like it doesn't really matter who the RB2 is, but I think Tennessee is running with a hot hand, and everything that I'm seeing right now, Deshaun Bishop has to be your RB2.
100%. I mean, just based on Cam Seldon not being injured.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah,
maybe he gets opportunities and lots of world on fire. And if
Right.
he does that, I guess you got to go that route.
great. Yeah, wonderful.
But I do think Deshaun Bishop has earned some carries, and we'll see kind of what that looks like going forward. But yeah, I thought Jalen Smith was a guy who flashed later on in the game. I thought Idris Farouk came in and lit somebody up, and I was like, who is that? Number 15.
Right.
Because I've seen some number 15 bury some people in the dirt, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to find out who that guy is. And it was a true freshman safety from St. Francis and the DC area. So, want to see more of that. And, I think guys are, that in those kind of games, those are the games where you can like, hey, I need some more opportunities. And, maybe when stuff isn't working out, I think Jacoby Thomas is a perfect example of that. Every time he's in there, the dude like pops.
Yeah.
And I know it was a shoestring kind of tackle sack, but it was a sack.
It's a sack. I mean, it was a play that was incredibly difficult to make, and he got there. No, absolutely.
Yeah. So
that play
I think there's a lot of guys earning some playing time, and I don't know how much there is to kind of go around, but I do think it's good for the development of this team, because you're like, oh man, they're not as deep at this position than they are somewhere else. So
Sure.
if an injury does happen, I feel like you are getting more and more confidence of guys behind some of these starters.
Sure. And I did just go in like defense. They graded out really, really well. We've talked about it. 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Pro Football Focus grade, Amari had a 90.8, Amari Thomas. Tyree West had an 84.7. Omar Norman Law had an 80.2. Jamal McCoy, 76.7. Jeremiah Thielander, 75.1. This one stands out to me. You talked about it. He played good last night, and then obviously had the 85-yard touchdown return. Will Brooks had a 70.1, which, if you're familiar with Pro Football Focus grades, 70 to 84 is starter, 85 to 89 is all conference, and 90 to 100 is elite grade. So that defense is grading out really well right now on what I would say is probably the only unbiased grading system.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's some that you kind of look at and you laugh, but yeah, because you just think I watching the game, you think they played a lot better. And there may have been one of those things where it's like for Boo Carter's instance, he graded at 54.4, or were there freshman mistakes in there because he made a lot of plays. Were there times that he might not have been in the right spot, didn't affect the play? Maybe so. I don't know. But yeah, this defense is grading out well, and I'm with you too. Building depth, that's massive.
And Blue Tick Takes here says, I think we keep getting better. I think, defensively,
hard to get better right now, but
yeah,
I think the secondary keeps getting better.
Yeah, and I think Nico in this offense just keeps getting better.
This offense still has a lot to kind of learn about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back into it helps your game and team so much. The run game is the run. You know what you have there. Now, they're still. That's not saying they've reached their ceiling. There's still more they can do, especially when they get Deshaun Bishop really rolling, Cam Seldon. But you have the run game to lean on, and I think this offense just keeps kind of learning who they are with Nico.
Yeah, I think the more and more he plays, the more he gets comfortable, the more he gets better. And he's already looking pretty poised, in my opinion. I understand the 2 picks last night. One probably not his fault entirely. But other than that, I thought he played really well. And it's honestly like Casey Clausen, did he have fantastic stats? I know like at the end of the day, we're like, we want Nico to win a Heisman. Like that would be awesome. But at the same time, like, I want to win football.
I would rather win if I have to choose. I'd rather win football games.
Yeah, and it seems like to me that man is playing to win football games, and not worried about stats. I think stats will come with winning football games.
Absolutely.
And I think he understands that a little bit. And, I think he has some moxie to him. He ran that one around the end, kind of like slides down a little bit, and the guy kind of shoves him, and he gets right back up and shoves him back. But also at the end of the game, he is about to do an interview with, I think, Holly Rowe, and turns around and like checks on an injured player from earlier in the game. I mean, dude's likable.
Yeah.
And I think he's somebody that everybody in that locker room is willing to go to war for.
It's one of those things for sure that we've run into this with some quarterbacks that we've played against that you hate them because they're on the rival team, but it's hard to hate them.
Yeah.
You kind of can't wait for them to leave Alabama or something because you want to root for them.
Yeah. He's like, man, that's such a good dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So sorry, opposing Tennessee fans, but been there.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. I know I have a lot more thoughts on this game, but I think we've kind of hit everything we really could. Tennessee's rolling. They do move up in the rankings. Coach's poll was 9.
Yep.
AP was 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so keep ticking. You jump some people now. You're gonna have the opportunity.
See the latest bracketology?
I have not. I kind of forget bracketology exists.
They got Tennessee hosting a playoff game, hosting Missouri.
He didn't think he'd have to. Poor guy. He didn't think he'd have to play us this year.
Oh man, dude, that would be electric.
If he wins that, we gotta have like a state. Oh no! If Tennessee wins after the game, TSSAA officials have to come out and present a state championship gold ball.
Gosh, I mean,
get it ready.
Drinkwitz is praying that game does not take place in Knoxville. If it does,
for sure. I guess are you ready to? Do you have anything else you want to hit on? Or are you ready to roll into some week 2?
Yeah, I'm kind of ready to go.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot else. I just think that was fun environment. I enjoyed the trip. Got there on Thursday, and I think we had a question about like what all did you like about Charlotte. I'm a fan of Charlotte. I know a lot of people like aren't like too keen on it. They'd rather go to Nashville. I think I'd rather drive 3 hours the other way. Just the weekend I spent there, enjoyed the bar scene, the breweries, stuff like that was kind of all into walking distance and around the stadium. And I thought the city was super clean, in my opinion. So I enjoyed my time in Charlotte. Obviously, the game helped. And maybe it was just kind of a mixture of things of where I was staying and stuff like that. But I enjoyed it. So I would definitely go back, not for a neutral site game, but
yeah, I don't like that you're selling this environment in this game.
I just think but
stop. But it was a game of football that was played in the wrong city. You had 2 cities to get it right, and you got the wrong one somehow. It shouldn't have even been an option. And now here you sit going, yeah, I'd love to be back. No,
we made
better never play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl unless it becomes a semifinal game. We better not be playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Or I mean, we just have these like Duke's Mayo stuff centered at home stadiums.
That would be fine.
Why can't we do that?
That would be fine with me.
I mean, we can put Pilot on the stadium. We can't put Duke's Mayo. You kidding me? Look at this.
Yeah, look at this Pilot giving out free oil hats.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just don't
They're
like
giving
that.
out jars of mayonnaise with the team's logo on it last night. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm sorry that it wasn't, but I made the most of it.
Sure, we all did, but the most still sucked compared to Neyland.
That's true.
I like a good NFL stadium because seats are comfortable. I was in the club seats, man. They rocked. I'd rather be, hip to hip with everybody in Neyland when Will Brooks returns that for a touchdown. That place might fall. It would have been awesome.
Well, it's also like you get like a It is probably hard to do like the neutral sites. Like you couldn't do that at like a random city. Like it has to be a big city, otherwise people aren't going. But like having the city as a selling point to go to definitely
Right. So you need to quit talking it up. Stop.
like if it was like in, no offense to Johnson City, but like if it was in Johnson City, it wouldn't be a selling point for like people in Raleigh to go to Johnson City to watch. And I'm sorry, I said
hate
Johnson
to-
City.
I
I see
mean-
your mind flowing.
Well,
But-
hold on, Landon. Johnson City, Tri-Cities, tomato. 80,000 people literally went to that city for a neutral site game 8 years ago.
Yeah, and that was terrible. And they're trying to do it
Sure.
again for a baseball game.
Sure, I don't disagree that it was awful, but that's a bad point, is what I'm saying. I was
was
gonna
the
agree
first-
with you. I was gonna agree with you, and then I remembered that you picked the wrong city because it literally happened.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, we actually
Any
stayed in
other-
Johnson City for the game.
Any other city. I guess I just that was such a rough like game experience. And we won and it was cool, but I was like,
No, I
I
didn't know what
like I
happened.
have to rewatch the game entirely to even know what really happened.
For sure. I was talking about that game though, because afterwards today we were driving back and just looked over and was like, we just whooped that whole thing. I was like, you know where that came from, right? And got to tell that story. Old
yeah.
Daryl Taylor.
Got a sack today.
What's gonna happen tonight? What's gonna happen tonight?
Yeah, we gonna do it. We did it last night.
We did it.
I feel like every player for Tennessee that's in the pros is getting a sack tonight. You had
Yeah, I've got
Byron
Tennessee
Young.
football's notifications on, and honestly, it's been a little obnoxious today. Just ding, 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 ding. I'm like,
yeah.
Gerard Mayo got his first win.
Yep.
The people I stay with in Charlotte, they're Patriots fans, and I asked him, I said, Joe Milton, like, right? He's like, if he's a starting quarterback, cheer for him, cool, but like, he's not gonna be. So if it gets there, and I was like, congratulations, you successfully escaped the Joe Milton experience, because I was in that world.
Yeah.
And that's not saying he shouldn't root for Joe Milton. That's just saying he overcame a very difficult obstacle.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Patriots fans, they kind of deserve to kind of go through something like that.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah. For sure.
And maybe they are to a certain extent, but not like Tennessee fans. Let's not forget that they were just a dynasty not too long ago.
Well, Boston just won another championship a few months ago.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought they lost it, but they did win, which I was promptly reminded of because they're Boston fans.
Did you tell them that we just won a national championship?
They know.
You just had to
me.
remind them. I was talking to
just anywhere I walk into, I just say Tennessee won the 2024 College Baseball World Series, by the way.
Yeah. Last night I looked over at Deuce and I was like, dude, it's gonna be so fun to win in football too.
Don't forget about basketball.
And basketball. Yeah, one at a time though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the present.
Sure. So I do want to talk about week 2, obviously go through these scores. A weird week 2 and a game that didn't have a ton of good slates. Like there were some good matchups, but really the good matchups ended up not being good. It was the weirder ones that worked out. And we talked about it. Tennessee's ranking is what it is. I wasn't upset last week about it. I'm not upset this week about it. I am upset about rankings though. If you watch that Notre Dame game, and I didn't watch much of it, I box score watched. They can't be ranked. You cannot have them ranked right now. They beat a Texas A&M team that was only ranked because they're overrated like they are every year. They should have never been in the top 25. They were preseason ranked. Those shouldn't count. I'm okay if NC State falls flat on their face this year. I'm okay with in week 10 going, you didn't beat a number 24 team in week 2. That's fine. Preseason rankings are stupid. So they beat Texas A&M. Good. Happy for them. Wasn't a blowout. And then they lose at Northern Illinois and get their teeth kicked in. They scored 14 points.
Yeah.
They're 1-1, and they lost to Northern Illinois. No, shouldn't be ranked.
At home.
At home.
How do you
Pick
go to
another team.
A&M and win that one and then go back home and lose to Northern Illinois?
Pick another ranking. It's so stupid, dude.
Yeah, we do it every year. You know, it's an annual thing. You know, there's Deuce Mayo Bowl. There's a Notre Dame getting preseason hype that they're going to be good, and they show us every year why we should not.
Yeah, and Clemson moves up 3 spots after beating App State. They'd get to jump Boston College, who beat your overrated FSU team that you ranked, but that didn't carry weight, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb,
also, Clemson, you know what they did this week? All they did was make Georgia look unbeatable because they played absolutely like flawless. Kate Klubnik couldn't throw it in the ocean last week. He throws for 378 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
So, yeah, screw Dabo Sweeney.
Yep. And I'm someone, too, kind of looking at our rankings. I only really looked at Notre Dame and was angry about that. Like Penn State, they looked awful. They barely beat Bowling Green, but it's one of those things. If you believe in your rankings, which you clearly don't, you had Oregon and Penn State get jumped. If you believe in your rankings, why are you moving after wins?
Yeah.
So it's like certain places, they believe in their rankings and others they don't. In fact, the AP even said, oh, if we're going to keep Notre Dame in the top 20, I guess that makes Northern Illinois 25? Sure, make it happen. I wonder if that dude's on the AP ballot again. That one dude, he's a Notre Dame guy, I think, that just picked Tennessee last year. He was like 15 all year, whatever it was. They were really far back in his rankings every time. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think it was Notre Dame Rider. He's probably what kept him at 18.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as I stated, a good slate of games that we didn't exactly expect, except for Texas, Michigan, which I told you, and someone else said it to me today, and I think it's true. I think Texas is a really good football team. I think Michigan is not as good as people want them to be. I think both of those statements are true.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, like looking at the receiving votes in the AP poll.
Hopefully Colorado's still getting some.
No, they're not. I did check to make sure they were not. Where the heck is USF?
Well, they lost, Landon. So,
I mean, but South Carolina almost lost to Old Dominion. They're receiving votes.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Vanderbilt's receiving votes. That's wild.
Which you mentioned playoff in the bracketology, and everyone is now saying NC State's playoff hopes are dead. The ACC sucks. Outside of Miami, the ACC sucks.
Yeah.
So they just their business. They could very well still be in the playoff. They could finish the season with 1 loss.
Yeah, all they got to do is beat Miami. They just
Their
got to
playoff
be better
hopes-
than Miami in 1 game. And
Yeah.
they're in.
I mean, they could lose 2 or 3, find their way to an ACC title game and beat Miami. Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, their playoff hopes aren't dead by any means. Now, you can't be on the line and have a 41-point loss and get in, sure.
Right.
Which, by the way, overhit.
Love that.
Nico knew it was going to be close, tossed him a tutty to secure it.
Okay. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, they could be close, but Arkansas, guys, find another reason to fire Bobby Petrino and Sam Pittman on the way.
Jeez.
What were they doing? I mean, that overtime play calling was atrocious. They go for it on 4th and 4 from the Oklahoma State's 22?
Yeah.
Kick the field goal. You
And you win.
moron. You win. I mean, what are you doing? It was a tie ball game at that point, too. They weren't fighting for a touchdown because they did go down 7 after that. Kick the field goal. Take the points. I think they ran a QB draw on 4th and 4. Tied in the 4th quarter. I mean, just incredibly stupid. Georgia Tech confirmed our suspicions. FSU is awful. They got just it ended up a 3-point game. I don't know how. Syracuse was up like what, 20 at one point? 17?
Yeah, I think so.
It was a lead at one point. I just don't remember what it was. I didn't realize Pitt came back on Cincinnati and won that game. Okay. Memphis covered against Troy, big time.
Oklahoma?
Ruh-roh. Someone said if we beat Oklahoma, what was the comment here? If we beat Oklahoma, it was like definitely in the playoff or something like that. Did it go away? Can you delete comments on this?
I don't know. Here's one thing about Oklahoma. They do not run the football well at all. And so, I mean, you can't run the football in Tennessee. I think you're in a world.
As you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen how that ended up. So
For sure. It was, if we win in Norman, we're in the playoff. There's a lot of football to play after you play in Norman, but I agree that you win in Norman and that road gets a lot more comfortable. It gets a little bit wider. You're feeling better about where you sit in the grand scheme of things if you win in Norman. And knock off Kent State, of course. The Golden Flashes are coming for throats. Be ready.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
We don't skip weeks.
They lost to St. Francis, Pennsylvania yesterday.
Never good when the team has to identify exactly who they are by state.
Exactly. Yeah, they are not good. Scored 14 in the second quarter, didn't score any until the fourth quarter. They scored a field goal. So
love that.
Not looking great for Kent State coming into Knoxville next weekend. It was funny. I was driving in today and I was like, man, I can't wait to do like all this over again next weekend, but at home.
Yeah, it won't be the same kind of excitement, but it's a home night game, so some excitement for sure.
Right. And then, I mean, that's that one game to get ready for Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's looking bad.
Iffy, I'd say right now.
Yeah.
They do get the win. I think that's big, but you're not wrong. If you struggle in the run game, that's going to be tough. And they just don't have big play potential at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no one like Deion Burks is good, but other than like him, there's no one like on that offense that you're just like, man, that guy is scary.
Right.
Like Concepcion is probably one of the best receivers you'll play all year long. And you were, after that first drive, able to bottle him up. So feeling good.
Oh, for sure.
Let's not forget Oklahoma almost lost to Houston. Houston got waxed by UNLV the week before. So
yeah. Houston, poor Houston. They're struggling.
Yeah, sorry, Willie Fritz. Not looking good in Houston so far.
Yeah.
Who
I
are
don't
some
feel bad for anybody.
No. Who were some other games?
Memphis covered against Troy, big time for me.
Cool.
The Iowa State overhit. That was pretty disappointing.
I mean, you had to do
Iowa State won.
I know, and now they're ranked, right? Just like
I think so.
Just the winner gets ranked. Is that what we're doing?
It's big time football in Iowa, man.
I guess so.
Yes, there are some more games. Man, Utah and Baylor. Baylor kept it within 11. There at the beginning, man, Utah looked like they were just going to have their way with them. California knocked off Auburn.
Yeah, I thought
Auburn's just not good, man.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be
not
decent.
good. They don't have a quarterback. That's going to hurt you.
Yeah,
it's going to hurt you. And then, of course, we talked about it a little bit, man. What are we paying Mark Stoops for? Well, not we, just the public in general. There are people out there paying Mark Stoops a lot of money. And guys, he sucks.
It's horrible.
I mean, sure, he can win. He can have some winning seasons here or there, but the man doesn't really win. Brock Vandagriff was 3 for 10, 30 yards.
In the game?
Yeah, buddy. Give up the whole jeans, light jeans, cell phone belt clip thing. It's not funny anymore. You threw for 30 yards and an interception.
Against a team that almost lost to Old Dominion.
And they I'm not exactly hating on it. I think it rocks. They let Goggle Dog 2.0 throw 2 tutties on him.
Who didn't look like he could throw in the ocean last week.
Right.
Oregon Boise State was a good game. Did you watch it last night?
I did not, but I think that over hit too. I didn't bet on it, but I think it ended up hitting.
Oh, it had to. It was like 70 points.
I think it was 62 or something like that.
Yeah, they scored 71 points.
I think I told you. I said it on the show last week, man. If Boise State scores at that rate and Oregon they didn't struggle to score, but struggles to finish drives, that'll be a good game. And sure enough, Boise put up points, man.
Boise's running back is legit.
He had 6 touchdowns last week. What do you have this week?
3 for 192 yards.
Kid can play.
Connor Bazelak. You know who Connor Bazelak plays for now?
No.
Bowling Green. Bowling Green almost knocked off Penn State.
That would have been sweet, man. Oh, dude, Chattanooga almost got revenge on Georgia State. They lost by 3.
I really love looking at scores and seeing who the quarterback of each team was, and being like, oh, I know that guy from this school.
Illinois knocked off Kansas.
Oh, I did see that.
And you mentioned UCF and Alabama. That went into the fourth quarter with UCF trailing by 1. And then Alabama just the dudes took over and they scored 28 in the fourth. Yeah.
I mean, I do think I think Alex Golish is a really good coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that. They were horrible when he got there, but he's looking like they could be a contender in that Group 5. Like, realistically, another kind of game and a Group 5 contender that's kind of a game of interest for Tennessee fans. Kansas State 34, Tulane 27. Tulane plays Oklahoma this week. I thought Tulane looked pretty good, and I think if Oklahoma comes out and plays the way that they did, they might end up losing to Tulane.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's very, very possible. And I don't know if that's the situation Tennessee necessarily wants. You don't want that team kind of pissed off. I also don't know what the line's currently at.
For Tennessee, Oklahoma?
For Oklahoma, I don't know what the Oklahoma Tulane line is. I can't imagine Oklahoma's heavily favored after what Tulane did versus what Oklahoma did. Oklahoma's a 14-point favorite.
Wow.
Do we hammer Tulane?
Dude, that quarterback's pretty good.
14 points is a lot.
Kansas State lined up for a 63-yard field goal. Didn't even touch the goal line.
Yikes.
Yeah,
yikes,
it was interesting. I mean, I get like trying to steal some points before the half, but I mean, at that point, just throw it up.
Right. Okay.
Also, dumb on Tulane for not just trying to return that one.
For sure. Hey, I think we have some money makers bets this week.
Okay.
I think we tease everything, but we've got Tulane, Oklahoma, A&M, Florida. Think about it. If you could tease that up to like 7, Florida covers, or tease it down A&M plus 4.5, something like that.
Yeah, I think I would go A&M.
I would go A&M.
Didn't really look great against Samford.
Yeah, that's how I'd do it too. You have Virginia Tech, Old Dominion. Old Dominion is a 14-point dog in that one. Tease them up to 20.
Okay.
FAU is favored by 6. They got thumped by Army, but tease them down even or -1. Just need them to win at that point. Ole Miss is a 23-point favorite over Wake Forest. You can tease that down to like, would that be 17? I think that's cash. Vanderbilt is a 10-point favorite to Georgia State, who just went to freaking all-out brawl with Chattanooga. I don't like betting on Vanderbilt, but tease that down to 3. I think we could put a hefty teaser together this week.
Okay, I'm in.
I think we could have a pay the mortgage parlay going on a teaser this week.
I like that.
Or we could just not even tease it. We could just play it out, see what happens.
Sure.
Be some close ones. Yeah, man, there's some good lines. And it's just like week 3, week 4 get a lot easier betting because you know more about teams.
Gosh. I'm looking at the slate for next week. I mean, Kentucky, they lose to South Carolina if it can't get any worse, and they got to play Georgia.
Well, hey, revenge game for Brock. Brock Vandergrift. So,
that's right. Okay, we'll see what that line's at because of that.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be that bad for him. South Carolina, by the way, is in the lead in the Southeastern Conference.
Oh, good for them.
Shane Beamer will not let us forget it, so forget it as soon as possible.
Guy that looked like he was definitely on his way out last week is now all the way back. I love that.
Yeah,
what a comeback story.
And Florida's not in last place. That belongs to Kentucky. Sole last place right now. That's special. That's special.
Arizona, Kansas State's going to be a good game next week. Alabama's going to destroy Wisconsin. They're going to be so pissed off.
What's that line? Alabama's just a 16-point favorite. You can get that down to 9.
Oof. Tyler Van Dyke is a quarterback of Wisconsin.
You would have gotten me if you had said he was true or false. Does he have eligibility? I would have said false for sure. What is it with these Miami guys and just having forever?
Ooh, Boston College, Missouri next week.
Mizzou's a 16-point favorite. That feels right to me, honestly. Of what we know of each team right now.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if I'd bet that, but feels right. Oregon's a 14-point favorite to Oregon State. I don't know if that's good or not, because I feel like they could win by 14, but that could also be a 3-point game too.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good slate as well. I think week 3 is going to be good.
I was looking at the bets on like Thursday, like going in, because you could do like player props and stuff, and I'm like, I don't love any of these games.
This week was hard. I probably found about 6 games that I liked, and I didn't really love many of them.
Yeah, you're just kind of throwing money just to feel something.
Honestly, that's about it. What was my big one I hit this week that I was like, oh yeah, it would have been Arkansas had Sam Pittman.
Yeah,
not directed by Petrino to wreck the bike.
Mm-hmm.
That one was going to hit, and it was going to feel really good because that was that one was 100% the bet that you're like, I don't think anything fun's going to happen, but why the hell not? Man, I was right. Nothing happened.
Yeah, I had Nebraska covering that, so that was a big one.
That's huge.
Also, did Travis Hunter plus 100 to score a touchdown? I was like, dude, he's scoring a touchdown. They might get beat, but they're going to. Yeah. He's going to did score a touchdown, so no longer a Heisman candidate, in my opinion.
Another Hail Mary I threw was USC minus 29. I was like, man, feels like the way they play Utah State, like they're not going to get scored on. They score 30. Yeah, they beat them 48-0. And I think I told you, which it hadn't concluded yet, but I had a teaser this week. That was Georgia Tech plus 3 that pushed. Iowa State under 42, that hit. Boise State, Oregon over 56, that hit. USC minus 23, that hit. The only one that didn't hit was over 56.5, Middle Tennessee, Ole Miss. They scored 55.
Dang.
Yeah. I love a good teaser parlay, man. I'm always like one off, but they're fun to put together.
Oh yeah. Butch Jones 2-0, just so you know.
Cool. Thank you for that. That is much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me up to date, Landon.
That's what I'm here for. Any good friends to tell us about?
Yeah, guys. I got to tell you guys about Grade A Grounds. Love Grade A Grounds. It was much needed this morning. If I had not had coffee, today would have been brutal. Absolutely brutal. But Grade A Grounds to save the day. Grade A Grounds is a local coffee roasting company located in Kingsport, Tennessee, owned and operated by 2 educators. Being educators, they love their community, love their students. They give back to their community by donating 5% of all their sales to a nonprofit organization called Coalition for Kids. It's all over the Tri-Cities. And you will see the artwork from the students in those classrooms displayed proudly on all of their packaging. It's a great way to incorporate the students that they're giving back to into their brand. I love it. They're also doing it with the gold medal blend, which is a special blend, only going to be out for a limited time to support Special Olympics of Greater Knoxville. That is for our golf tournament coming up to also support Special Olympics of Greater Knoxville. We appreciate Grade A Grounds and their partnership. Love what they do, not just with their coffee, but with their brand as well. Fired up for the golf tournament. Make sure you go sign up. We've got a few more spots. We're going to need to really get to we're getting to crunch time that if you want to be a part of it, you got to do it. So make sure you go do that today. We really appreciate you guys. Can't wait to see you out there. It's going to be fun. But shout out to Grade A Grounds specifically. Go check them out at gradeagrounds.com. Promo code GOVOLS, capital G, capital V, GOVOLS for 10% off today. My personal favorite, B is for Blueberry, limited time, gold medal blend. Get both, 10% off. gradeagrounds.com.
Do it.
All right. We hit week 2 a lot quicker than I thought we would.
Most important.
Did you stay up for what time was the Boise State Oregon game kickoff?
It was on when I got back home.
Okay. I wanted to be a sicko and stay up for watch the USC Utah State game. Kicked off at 11. It kicked off at 11, so I'm sure it went into well over midnight. And I'm a sucker for Pac-12 after dark, but buddy, was I exhausted.
Yeah, it was one of those games you're like, I mean, this game is over, but I mean, it was on, so I watched it a little bit and kind of put me to sleep. So,
right, good for you. I like that.
Right.
Most important, you said.
Yeah, before I do that, guys, go check out Roback, roback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. They got the best gear in the game, and just love their polos. Wore the Orange State polo to the game on Saturday, and got a lot of compliments on that. So, yeah, guys, go check them out. Roback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. Also, go check out our good friends at Autograph. Download the app today. Use promo code ISSUES when you're signing up. That lets them know that More Important Issues sent you.
Mm-hmm.
But it is that community that you're looking for when you're reading articles, when you're listening to podcasts like this one. You can do that all at Autograph. It's a one-stop shop. Also, it rewards you for being a fan. You know, we're always looking for like what do we get as season ticket holders, stuff like that. Well, Autograph is going to take care of you in doing that. Right now they have tickets with no fees. So go check that out. Also, they got a lot of things in the works for them that they're going to be letting the fans kind of get rewarded for. So go check them out. Autograph, use promo code ISSUES when signing up, and download the app today.
Go do it right now.
Yep.
Go check them out.
All right. Most important, I'm going NIU, getting that first win versus top 10 opponent. And that wouldn't happen without the terrible rankings that we have every single year. So shout out the rankings. Shout out NIU. Go Dogs. And what a win.
NIU, is that no, it was Eastern Illinois. That was it. Roethlisberger went to Eastern.
Yes.
I feel like there's a
Is there NIU
prominent
quarterback?
NFL Northern Illinois guy. Who is it?
Let's check it out. PJ Fleck went to NIU.
Jordan Lynch, but that's not who I'm thinking of. There's not. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. Good for it. Good for the Huskies.
Yeah, I think PJ Fleck was the only one I really. Sam Hurd.
Okay.
Jordan Lynch. Yeah, not a lot. Jimmy Ward. Michael Turner. And whatever. Yeah. Props to them for getting the top 10 win.
Yeah, no, love it. You love to see it. My most important, it's my nephew Damien. You've heard of him before. If you remember that one story about him. He was what was that award? We had an award for a while.
Oh, what was that?
It certainly wasn't Little Boy of the Week.
Do you know what it is?
The award?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I thought you were just trying to get me to guess. Sorry.
No, I blanked on it.
I don't know.
Well, he's that kid. And unprompted, he just looked at his dad during the Texas Michigan game. He's in full Tennessee gear, and he just drops it on him. Just, I mean, I don't know if Texas will ever fully recover from that. They're never going to be back now.
Yep.
So congratulations to him to winning that award, whatever award I gave him. Assassin.
Shout out.
Yeah.
I'd like to report a murder. Gerard Mayo getting that first win. That's pretty
huge.
cool, and against a good team in Cincinnati. That was cool to see.
Absolutely, man. Fire me up.
My next one is Tyreek Hill. Getting arrested at 10 a.m. and then scoring a touchdown at 3 p.m. and doing putting your hands behind your back while Jalen Waddle is walking you off. That is.
Wait, that actually happened?
Yeah.
Someone called that. Someone said he's going to score a touchdown and pretend he's in handcuffs.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Waddle's going to put him in handcuffs.
80-yard house call.
I don't know what his overs were today, but people in a group text of him were saying hammer his overs, and I would guess he at least hit the yardage over on that one play.
Let's see what it was. I mean, I'm sure he had more than. Did they win? They did win. They beat the Jaguars. Tyreek Hill had 130 yards.
Yeah, surely. Surely.
No Jalen Wright. What a shame.
Yeah.
They rushed for 3.2 yards today, so I guess that's what you get for not playing Jalen Wright.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't even looked at many NFL scores. I saw what the Saints did to the Panthers. I didn't get home till like 4:40.
You didn't have to bring that up.
It was one of the few scores I saw. I had to prepare for this. I had to play an NCAA game. Got the dub. Fresno State's now 9-1. I beat a team ranked ahead of me. Another team's going to have a loss in there. I listen, playoff hopes are alive in my online dynasty for Fresno State. And We're looking good, and our offense coordinator, Gordon Bombay, is doing a phenomenal job. I'm Gordon Bombay. I'm the offense coordinator.
I am Gordon.
I did watch a little bit of the Seahawks Broncos game, and it was mayhem for the 3 minutes I watched it. I felt like there were 6 turnovers and a safety, I think. It was wild. I don't think I have any more most important.
Ooh, I got a
Scares
most
me sick.
important.
Glad
I forgot
had
to
it.
tell you that this happened.
Oh gosh.
But we had a player like a tweet of ours from last week right before the game. It was the tweet was the caption was the last time Tennessee played NC State at a neutral site. You want to know who that player was?
Who?
Nico.
So he liked it Saturday at 6:30.
No, he liked it I think on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's better. That's
Yeah. Any fails of the week?
listen, guys. All right, it's intervention time, Landon.
Okay.
And I'm part of the problem. We got to calm down. Tennessee fans, we got to calm down. Not everyone is against us.
Okay.
That NC State stuff with that one player talking about, he was just saying if we practice right, we're going to be prepared. We're making the practices harder than games. It's no big deal.
Right.
It was just player speak, coach speak, if you will. Like nothing.
Yeah, how else did you want him to answer that question?
Nothing to it. Yeah, I mean, the only way, I guess, according to you all, he could have answered it is saying, well, they're going to kick our ass, so it doesn't matter. And he would have been right, but he's not going to say that.
Correct.
We got to calm down. And then we have Saturday, Nico throws the interception. Ryan Shumpert, my man, this is his tweet. Bad mistake by Nico, who throws it late and inaccurately over the middle and is intercepted for the first time in his career. That's the tweet. Someone responds, how long has this been sitting in your drafts? He is a beat reporter covering the game. What do you want him to tweet?
It was honestly like the last play, so not very long at all.
What?
Yeah.
And then I took it too far because I'm at a game and I'm fired up, and I tweeted back at that person when I fired off. But I'm sorry, it's just insane. Some of you people, I love you. We cheer for the same team. Not everyone hates us. Calm down. Deep breaths.
There was an NC State fan 2 rows in front of us that absolutely hated us.
Good.
He actually hated, there was a group of like older gentlemen in front of us. He hated them. Got up like wanting to fight because I don't know if they celebrated and somebody might have bumped him or what, but they bumped him and he turned around and was like, they hit me in the back of the head and like just started cussing. And then his nephew was sitting like a couple seats over, and his nephew was like trying to like diffuse the situation a little bit, trying to talk him down, and obviously like trying to take up for his uncle too. It's like don't bump him. But he kind of got one side of the story, so it was just an awkward situation. But the guy like kept going on and on. He kept telling his nephews like, your fans are trash. He's like, I gave y'all a chance and it's over. And I'm like, number one, dude, it's a 41-point game. Go the hell home.
And you got bumped in a stadium. That has never happened before. I'm sorry you had that solo experience that no one's ever.
Yeah. And also, you bought a ticket in Tennessee section.
You should expect crap.
Exactly.
Just
like
part of
people are going to talk. I mean, I am not one of those persons that talk crap because I don't get belligerent at games, but there's people that do, and there's people that like to Kind of
Well,
poked the bear a little
you did
bit.
take your shirt off at LSU.
Right. But that was all in good
I'm just
fun.
Just kidding. That was in your
I mean,
belligerent. That was
every
in
time
response to your
every
belligerent word
every
usage.
time we score, I lift my shirt up. It's just it's my dance. Tyreek Hill
Sure.
does the handcuffs. I have to do one thing, and that's it. That's lift my shirt up. That's all I know how to do. So
You need to just paint one letter, like the Happy Gilmore people, but you're not obviously with anybody else that has theirs painted. Maybe just each week, one week V, 1 week O, 1 week L, 1 week S, and then you can picture them all together or something.
we had Kellen. He was like, we're all like, all right, boys, it's game day, and he was like, all right, somebody paint me up, and I was like, it would be awesome if you were just like a V, and just like there was no O, L, or S, just V.
Someone has to do that for a game this year.
That would be awesome.
It would have
I
been a
think
good
you
night to do it
volunteered
too. No, not me. You
Joey Boots.
misunderstood. Yep. Speaking
Shout
of
out
tweet,
Joey.
speaking of just like bad tweets, I thought it was funny, and I'm not going to delete it because I stand by it. When Dave Doran iced us at going into halftime,
Mm-hmm.
I got one of those. They talk about in Ted Lasso with aces. I was like, and they almost said ISIS. I was like, ISIS. Dave Doran loves ISIS, and I just tweeted Doran loves ISIS.
He
I
does.
was like, got to think about it. He just ISIS loves ISIS. I was like, that's a dumb tweet. I don't care. Firing it off.
I'm sure there was somebody who was like, what is this guy talking about?
I'm shocked an NC State fan didn't find it. And it's like, see, look how bad Tennessee fans are. They're accusing our coach of loving a terror organization.
Yeah.
He supports the war. And then we could have gotten him on that. Be like, oh, Dave Doran loves sending your kids to die. We could have got him. I had the trap set.
Yeah. Bad news.
There was also, speaking of weird people at the game, there was a weird dynamic going on in front of me at the game. There were 3 younger women, mid-20s maybe, and then an older gentleman who was acting, speaking of belligerent, he just danced the whole time to the amusement of the 3 ladies he brought to the game. They were much younger than him. They seemed to really be enjoying this dancing. I don't think anybody else, I certainly wasn't. The other people around me didn't seem to. Couldn't quite figure out what was going on. Every time they went and got drinks, they got his wallet. It was weird. It was weird. We tried to figure it out. We tried to crack the case, but.
Shout out Sugar Daddy.
When they ran out, he was like, I love this team. He was wearing like a gray shirt and I guess orange shorts, but they were like peach orange. They were not Tennessee orange.
Honestly, respect it. There's a guy that, and I recognize this guy because he comes to the baseball games and he sits in every seat but his. And people will make him move and he'll go like 1 row up.
I do like that.
So like I hate this. Every time I see him, I tell my dad, I'm like, hey, there's your buddy. Because he's always in somebody's seat.
Did he get moved last week or last night?
He was 2 rows. He was like 3 rows in front of us last night when the game started. Gets moved, is in a section over 3 rows in front of that. And somehow this man is always on the big screen. I'm like, dude, I hate this guy. He's a guy and he's got like his son with him. I'm like, you're teaching him to do that, and your son's gonna do it when he's old enough to like go to the games by himself.
Gonna do it with his kid, and then his kid.
Yeah,
he probably learned from his father.
Down. Yeah, I don't know. I hate that guy so much. And
I respect that he does it everywhere.
Oh, it's crazy.
Because at Lindsey Nelson, there's not really. I mean, all the seats are kind of the same. Like they're just right there.
And like I see people like tell him, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry," and then he'll like just move. But it's in somebody else's seat. I'm like, dude, you pay for a seat. Go sit in that seat.
I don't know, dude. He might not have tickets to the game, any game he goes to. It sounds like.
He's like, hey, we're buying standing room only, but I can get us down probably like, I mean, he probably ends up with MVP seats somehow. I don't know. I don't know how he does it.
Respect.
I mean,
what if he has the
zero
best
shame
What if he had the best seats in the house and he was like, I'd rather just move the whole game.
And he kept like the camera guy was like on the sideline and he kept like yelling at him and like holding his son up like Simba to try to get him like on the big screen. I'm like,
I mean, the camera guy probably realized he's going, I've seen this guy in 8 different sections. He must be somebody important. I better get him up there.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about how not everybody hates us. I hate that guy.
Yeah, that's probably more a universal thing, though. I would bet most people hate that guy.
Yeah.
I kind of hate him, but I also think
like
the
he's
fact
doing
that
it in other sports, and now I know who he is from another sport, so like people are gonna catch on,
yeah,
and then he's gonna be like that guy.
the fact that he does that everywhere, though, I respect to a degree. If he was just doing it Lindsey Nelson, obnoxious. But he's doing it in Neyland and Thompson. He did it in Charlotte at Bank of America, those Howard Halls. I mean,
I want to just like be a fly on the wall and know what his seats actually are. And so maybe I have a little bit more appreciation for it. If he's like the very top row, he buys the cheapest seat in the house, somehow ends up like next to the sideline and is getting on the big screen, I'd have a little bit of respect for that.
But we do respect. He never argues. He gets told and leaves, right? I mean, he's out.
He does.
All
Yeah,
right,
he does.
Right. It's obnoxious, but
it is hard to like
thoughtful.
Like I hate that guy, but also like if he was just by himself, but he has his kid with him, so I guess that kind of softens the blow.
See, I think it's worse. Because I'm with you. I got your son. He's watching you.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been watching you.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I'm your buckaroo. I want to be like you.
I hope for his sake he's never in my seat. Because then we're gonna have some problems.
But he's just you're gonna go, hey, that's my seat. He's gonna leave.
I'm be like, dude, you do this all the time. Why do I keep seeing you move sections?
Next time you see him, you're gonna yell at him, and they're gonna be his seats. He's gonna be like, no, like I actually bought these this time. I've been saving up.
I'm be like, hey man, do you care if I see your phone and see where your seats are? I need to know where you're actually.
Are you an usher?
No,
yeah, I'm not an usher. I just want to see your tickets.
Yeah, maybe I get one of the ushers to go ask for a seat.
That's what's really frustrating. You're saying that about like Lindsey Nelson, and dude, there are times where I'm not being rude, at Neyland especially. The few times I go to the bathroom, it's like, all right, I have to go now. And it'll be in the middle of play. And I'll try to stand there. So I'm not making people stand up and stuff during a play. And the usher will be like, can't stand here. Like, dude, I've been here for like 3 minutes, or not 3 minutes, 3 seconds. I'm gonna leave after this play. Calm down. If I'm here for 2 plays, 3 plays, kick me out. Or more than a drive, I should say. Because usually now with Tennessee's offense, I'll wait a full drive.
Yeah, my thing is kind of with that. It's like, I mean, if I'm standing against the wall, not
Chilling,
in the middle,
eating a
I'm doing it better than you are. You're standing in the middle. You're in the way.
Right. He's right.
You have a chair.
I'm gonna bring a green shirt. I'm gonna bring a green shirt, and then they tell me that, I'm just gonna pull it out and start putting it on. Just look them in the eye and be like, no, I'm taking your job. You're fired. You're back to what you said. You're in the way.
Yeah. I'm going to kick him
You
out
need to
of
move,
the whole
sir.
section.
Where's your ticket?
Yeah.
But yeah, they just let this guy go unchecked, and I can't stand there for a drive.
I'm going to tell the usher the next section over and be like, hey, this guy is dressing up like an usher. He's not actually an usher. He doesn't have a ticket.
Yeah. We're gonna get this guy. He's on our list now. We're gonna get him
on my list.
We're gonna get him.
And dude, I see him on big screens I think I saw him like the first home game. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, he's a big screen merchant. It sounds like.
I mean, but he's killing himself. He's gonna get too famous, and
then they're gonna have an eye on him. They're gonna know where he's at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's true.
That's like if that same guy like trying to steal like a drill or something at Lowe's and puts it in like a tub. He keeps on doing it. They're gonna be like, as soon as he walks in, like, can't let you in here, bud.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. You got to go to different lows.
You should just get wanted signs printed of this guy and just hang him up when you walk in the stadium.
I think I'm gonna print one, and if I see him, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, is this you?" And just
Dead or
freaking-
it says dead or alive.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I've got.
That's all I've got. Guys,
It's
thank
fun,
y'all
guys.
for
2-0.
2-0. Feels good. We're back. We'll be back on Thursday in studio. And then Sunday, another home game, man. Football season is all the way here. It's awesome. It's tiring, but it's awesome. So enjoy the ride. We'll be back on Thursday, like we mentioned. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.